Hey everyone, it's Versha from Knowing Lux, and I am here to talk about luxury during the time of hardships and recession. So if you've been reading the news lately, the recession news is actually that we may not be going in that direction, but everyone's chatting about it and prices are at a all-time high. There's a lot of job openings, there's not so much job unemployment, but something is brewing, right? And what I have noticed in my time as a lawyer, now I'm a coach, I've had other businesses, I am noticing a trend in fashion, and especially luxury fashion, when times are low, when there is a financial hardship going on in the fashion industry, you tend to see the same thing happen, which is, and let me know if this is something that you've experienced as well. If these are the kinds of conversations that you like, please let me know. I am usually doing reviews and unboxings and sharing the really exciting shopping that I do and things like that. But I also like these more cerebral conversations about what's happening in the luxury industry and also just like fashion and style stuff. So this really intrigues me because number one, what are the trends that happen when the recession is coming or when there is typically a financial hardship around the world? For example, there's a war going on right now when this is taping between Russia and Ukraine. And so, and in the United States, there's, all sorts of price increases and issues with flow of goods, among other things, right? And so so the first thing is like, what are the things that happen? What do people tend to want and wear and things like that? But then the second thing is, should you wear luxury items when there are financial struggles around the world and maybe even in your community, right? So now granted, there's always gonna be some financial struggle around you. Luxury is a privilege, all of that. Like this is sort of more nuanced than the general conversation around luxury and the privilege and, low income families. There's always that sort of tug of war. And there's also that extreme sides to things, right? That is not this conversation. This conversation is for when there is like some more extreme stuff like war, or recession, things like that. So I want to talk to you about what I see as trends first, and then we can talk about whether or not you should wear the stuff when there's a hardship. So the trends that I see, and I've seen this because of my age, I've been through one or two of these before, where there is clearly something happening financially in the world. So in 2007, 2008, when there was a real estate recession overall in the United States, there was a financial crisis. At that time, I also noticed that these same trends were very popular. Now, yes, Y2K is coming back in and all the little cute little Dior yellow checkered skirts and things like that. Fine, that was gonna be a trend one way or another. But what's also interesting to me is it goes twofold. There's a mini skirt trend about to happen. Then there's the extreme midi skirt trend that has been that's gonna be the tug of war, right? So the trend is that when money becomes tighter, people tend to dress more modestly in some ways, like to get a job, like all the professional styles, the more covered up stuff, so that you maybe are potentially gonna look better for getting employment. What's a little interesting though is that right now, mini skirts, a lot of bling, the Y2K like sheen and shine to things are coming in. Platform shoes, that's another really big way to know what's happening, is like platform shoes are like everywhere. Valentino is making those gorgeous pink ones. And so you're finding this trend really comes back when there's money crisis around the globe and of course the United States. I've been told that the modesty clothes are for when unemployment is high, because people want to be dressed in ways that help them get a job, right? Midi skirts, kind of more modest heel, a kitten heel. And then there's, you know, more of like a shawl collar gets really trendy. And then right now we're seeing glitz and glams and mini skirts and platforms. There's not a job crisis. You know, there's jobs available everywhere. I think people are doing a lot to get money from a lot of places. There's a lot of, I'm not gonna even get into that because I can only imagine the trolling that would happen, but there's a lot of layers to what's happening in the job market. So I find that interesting that platforms are back, recession is potentially being talked about, prices are really high, and what are your thoughts about that? Please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about sort of this part one of this conversation. Have you seen this trend before? Do you agree that this is something that is a trend related to money and fashion? And who's making these decisions? You know, is Anna Wintour like in her office somewhere being like, ooh, I see the financial trends, and so we're gonna have the magazines look like this season, or the runways look like this season. You know, obviously that's not how it works, but I'm curious. And I'm not, you know, I have a love-hate with platforms. It kind of just depends on the style. Like mini skirts are a definite no to me unless I'm like playing tennis. And so, you know, that's really not something that I'm into. But, you know, I am always into understanding what other people might be interested in and also like what the trends are, right? Like I love it as sort of a business side of it. So then there's the whole like, should you wear luxury items when there's a war going on? Or when people don't have money to buy chicken. Chicken was really expensive recently. They just recently fixed the issue that was happening with that. But yeah, people couldn't get their hands on chicken. And so, that's not the only expensive thing recently that was making it really hard for families. And here's my take on it. I wear a bit of luxury every single day. And I know it's a privilege, and I know that it's something that people probably judge me for. No, they definitely judge me for it, except for the people probably watching this video and on the like really fun Facebook groups that I'm in. Specifically, Haya Glamazon. I love her Facebook group. Her name is KM. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I hope you're watching this. I find her videos, and this is what inspired me to do more of a chatty video. She does a lot of these, and it really helps to hear people's perspective, to know that you're not the only one who like thinks like this and wants things like this. So her Facebook group and her YouTube channel is so fun. I highly recommend it. She's very knowledgeable on a lot of things. And so, yeah, should you wear it? Absolutely. Now, should you wear it when you're going to a soup kitchen? No. In fact, I actually have this very beautiful ring that I do wear every day. But if I were to go and do a community service project, maybe even getting my hands dirty a little bit, maybe building or cooking, I don't. I have a very simple band. I have two different bands that I either travel with or wear when I'm doing stuff like that. One has a little bit of bling, because you know it's really hard for me to go without that bling for too long. So I've got one that I travel with sometimes that's got a little bling, and then I have one that, like, if I'm really like, I used to help manage a kitchen for a summer camp, always had my hands in food and washing dishes and all sorts of messes. And so I had a ring for that. And then there's also like the handbag issue. You know, yes, my Gucci coated canvas can probably withstand any sort of shelter or anywhere like that I go to, like maybe work or something, but would I take that there? No, it might seem a little, it might seem a little like, okay, hopefully you've seen the Hunger Games. When they're taking the train, now the train is opulent and lavish and all of that, but then they get to the city and it's almost like a disgust for the grandeur and opulence and abundance, with a complete disregard of the participants who are coming from poorer districts. And so I kind of feel like that too. It's like, it's a matter of respect. So my grandfather used to always say that the way that you dress to go somewhere is always a sign of respect for your host. And so if your host is the soup kitchen, if your host is a community where you're delivering food, or if your host is the streets of Bangkok where you're doing some shopping with people and you're trying to bargain for a $5 thing, you know, maybe flashing the bling is not the thing to do, right? And so it's not really even about like, I'm in the wrong for owning this, but it's a matter of like respecting people for where they're at and where you're at and being on their turf. And I think that that's really the line for me. And sometimes I do teeter on that when I'm with my friends or certain family. Absolutely, there are some lines there to respect them, but often that leans towards like, why wouldn't I wear the things that I find to be wonderful and beautiful when I'm going to celebrate someone's wedding or to visit someone's home? Like, I do want to show them that like, yeah, I'm coming here and I want to look and feel my best for you as my host. So that's a separate issue. What are your thoughts? Please comment below. Please subscribe if you make it to this part of the video. I would love to hear from you, hear your thoughts. You know, that is my #1 reason for doing this channel. And yeah, that's the video for now. Thanks.